Hi, everyone. Stress is like this invisible weight we all carry. Some days it's light, just a little tension. Other days it feels like the world is sitting on your chest. And here's the thing, it's not just big things that stress us out. It's the small stuff. The traffic, the deadlines, the what ifs, the am I enough, the non-stop buzzing of life. But the truth is, stress isn't something we can just eliminate. It's part of being human. What we can do is learn how to dance with it, how to not let it take over our minds, our bodies, our joy. So how do we do that? You ever notice how we breathe without thinking? It's the one thing we do from the moment we're born till the moment we go. And yet, we barely pay attention to it. But when you're stressed, when everything feels tight and out of control, your breath is like a secret weapon. It's always there, quiet, waiting, ready to help. If you just slow down enough to use it, see, when stress hits, your body goes into survival mode. Your heart speeds up, your chest tightens, your brain starts racing. It's like your whole system is screaming, something's wrong. But most of the time, nothing dangerous is actually happening. You're just overwhelmed, not attacked. Your breath, though, it doesn't know that. It just reacts. That's why intentional breathing matters. Not just any breathing. Conscious breathing. It's when you pause, inhale, slowly feel your belly expand, and then exhale long and gentle, like you're letting go of something heavy, because you are. When you breathe like that, you're telling your nervous system, we're okay. You're giving your mind a chance to catch up with your heart. It doesn't fix the situation, but it shifts how you handle it. Suddenly, you're not spiraling. You're grounded. You're here. And look, it's not always easy. When you're anxious or upset, the last thing you want to do is just breathe. It sounds too simple, too small, but simple doesn't mean weak. Breathing with intention is a form of power. It's the kind of power that says, I'm not going to let this moment own me. You can do it anywhere, in a car, at your desk, sitting on your bathroom floor. It's free. It's yours. And the more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. Over time, it stops being just a tool. It becomes a habit, a rhythm, a lifeline. Breath is proof you're alive. But when you use it with awareness, it becomes more than that. It becomes a way to come back to yourself even when the world is loud and messy. So, yeah, it may not solve everything, but it will center you. And sometimes that's exactly what you need. Sometimes the hardest thing in the world is just saying, I'm not okay. Not because we don't feel it, but because we've been taught to hide it, to smile through it, to keep going like everything's fine, even when something inside us is quietly falling apart. And we get so good at pretending that we forget what it even feels like to be real. But being honest about how you feel, that's where the healing starts. Not the fake kind of healing where you try to fix things fast or bury them under distractions, but the deep kind, the kind that says, yeah, this hurts, and I don't have to carry it all in silence. See, when you push your feelings down, they don't disappear, they just sit there. They build up. They show up later in ways you don't expect, like snapping at someone, getting anxious over nothing, or feeling numb when you should feel joy. Suppressed emotions aren't harmless. They're just hidden. And eventually, they'll ask to be seen. Being honest isn't about falling apart. It's about being brave enough to show up exactly as you are. Whether you're tired, scared, lost, or angry, all of it deserves a voice. All of it is valid. You're not weak for feeling deeply. You're human, and humans feel things, big, messy, complicated things. And when you speak it out, even just to yourself, you give your emotions somewhere to go. You're not bottling them up anymore. You're giving them room to breathe, to be processed, to pass. What's powerful is that honesty doesn't require an audience. You don't need the perfect words or some big emotional breakdown. You just need a moment of truth. A whisper to yourself, this is what I'm feeling. That one moment, it can change everything, because from that honesty, you start to understand yourself better. And when you understand yourself, you treat yourself more gently. You stop expecting perfection and start practicing compassion. That's when the weight begins to lift. You don't have to be strong all the time. You just have to be real. That's where the freedom is, not in fixing everything, but in letting yourself be seen, even in the mess. We spend so much of our lives trying to control everything. Our schedules, our relationships, the way people see us, the outcome of every situation. Like if we just plan enough, try hard enough, hold tight enough, maybe we can stop things from going wrong. Maybe we can keep ourselves safe from pain, from disappointment, from uncertainty. But life doesn't work like that. The truth is, Control is kind of an illusion. No matter how tightly we grip the steering wheel, we can't control the traffic. We can't control to life with, control other people. We can't control what tomorrow brings. And when we try to, we exhaust ourselves. We end up anxious, frustrated, burned out, not because life is hard, but because we're fighting. We were never meant to win. Letting go of control doesn't mean giving up. It means softening, trusting. It means accepting that life has its own rhythm. And sometimes the best thing we can do is stop trying to force it into our idea of how it should be. That takes courage. It takes humility. It takes a deep breath and the willingness to say, I don't have all the answers, and that's okay. When you let go, even just a little, you make space for something else, peace. You stop micromanaging the moment and start living in it. You start responding instead of reacting. You start noticing what's actually happening instead of what should be happening. That's where the shift is. That's where the freedom is. And yeah, it's scary. Letting go feels like losing control, because it is. But what you gain in return is clarity, grace, the ability to move through life instead of trying to outsmart it. You start trusting the process. You start trusting yourself. There will still be moments of chaos, moments when everything feels like it's falling apart. But you'll realize you don't need to fix it all in one breath. You just need to be with it, to allow it, to trust that even if it's messy, you're still growing, still learning, still enough. The world doesn't need you to have it all together. It just needs you to show up, opened, handed, open-hearted, and willing to let go when it's time. Life gets loud, not just the kind of loud you hear with your ears, but the kind that fills your head. The pressure to do more, be more, fix everything, prove something. Life where if you zoom in, it's like there's always another expectation, another voice telling you you're behind. And when that noise builds up, it can be hard to breathe, hard to think, hard to just be. But even in the middle of all that, there are still these little spaces, tiny, quiet moments that most of us rush past. A song that makes you close your eyes for a second. A breeze that hits your face just right. A minute of silence when no one needs anything from you. These are your pockets of peace. They might not look like much, but they are everything. Finding peace doesn't mean escaping your life or going off the grid. It means finding little moments where your heart feels safe, where your thoughts slow down, where your soul gets to catch its breath. And sometimes that peace doesn't come to you. You have to look for it. Create it, protect it. You could find it in a walk with no destination, in your morning coffee when the world's still asleep, in sitting on the floor, doing absolutely nothing for 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be big or impressive. It just has to be real, and it has to be yours. The reason it matters so much is because we can't run on stress forever. We're not machines. We break down. And when we don't give ourselves those little pauses, the pressure builds until something inside us bursts. But if you can find even one peaceful moment in your day, it can change everything. Not the situation, but your relationship with it. Peace doesn't mean life is perfect. It means you found a way to come back to yourself, even when life is hard. It's a reminder that underneath all the noise, you're still here, still steady, still whole. So maybe the most powerful thing you can do today isn't checking off another task or pushing through another hour. Maybe it's just closing your eyes, breathing in deep, and letting yourself feel that tiny, quiet moment. That's your pocket of peace. And you deserve it. Your body isn't just a shell you walk around in. It's your home, the place where every thought, every emotion, every memory lives. And yet, we treat it like an afterthought. We push it past its limits. We ignore its signals. We only pay attention when it breaks down or refuses to keep up with our pace. But here's the truth. Your body has been carrying you through every moment of your life, even the hard ones, especially the hard ones. Caring for your body isn't about six-pack abs or eating kale every day. It's not about chasing perfection or keeping up with someone else's version of healthy. It's about listening, tuning in, asking yourself, what does my body actually need right now? Sometimes it needs rest, sometimes water, sometimes movement, sometimes stillness. And sometimes it just needs you to stop being so angry at it and show it a little love. When we're stressed, overwhelmed, or emotionally worn out, our body feels it first. You might get headaches, feel drained, lose sleep, not because something's wrong with you, because your body is trying to speak. It's asking for help, and ignoring it doesn't make it go away. If anything, it makes the stress worse. But the beautiful thing is you can reconnect. You can start treating your body like it matters. Like it's not just some tool you use to get things done, but a living, breathing part of who you are. And that doesn't take a dramatic life change. It starts with small, quiet choices. Drinking water when you're thirsty. Stretching after sitting too long. Taking a deep breath when your chest feels tight. Going to sleep when your eyes are begging for rest. Those simple acts, they're powerful. They're acts of self-respect. They say, I'm worth taking care of. And over time, they change the way you feel, not just physically, but emotionally. Because when your body feels safe and supported, your mind follows. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. About honoring the one thing that has carried you through it all. Your body. It's not separate from your healing. It is part of your healing. Treat it like it matters. Because it does. We live in a world that tells us to be strong, to be independent, to figure things out on our own. And for some reason, we start to believe that needing help means we're weak. Like leaning on someone is something to be ashamed of. But the truth is, being human means we need each other. It's not a flaw. It's actually one of the most beautiful things about us. There's something deeply healing about being seen, really seen, not when you're at your best, but when you're messy, exhausted, confused, or barely holding it together. When someone looks at you in that state and still says, I'm here, that's not weakness. That's connection. That's life reminding you that you're not alone, even if your mind tries to convince you otherwise. It's okay to lean on someone. It doesn't mean you're a burden. It doesn't mean you've failed. It means you're honest enough to know that you can't carry everything by yourself, and brave enough to ask for support anyway. That moment of reaching out, whether it's a text, a phone call, or just sitting silently next to someone, that matters more than you think. Sometimes it's not even about getting advice or fixing anything. It's just about not feeling invisible, about knowing there's at least one person who sees your pain and doesn't run from it. And sometimes that presence, that steady, quiet love is what gets you through the hardest moments. You don't have to explain everything perfectly. You don't have to make sense of it all before you open up. You just have to be willing to say, I'm not okay, and I don't want to go through this alone. That sentence can feel terrifying, but it's also the beginning of healing. We weren't meant to survive this world in isolation. We're wired for connection, for comfort, for shared strength. So lean on someone, even if it's just for a moment. Let yourself be held. Let yourself be loved, even in the middle of your struggle. You don't have to earn it. You just have to allow it, because sometimes the softest place to fall is exactly where your strength begins.